Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. It's Jen here from tarotspirit.net. I'm here doing your weekly reading for the week beginning November 19th. Happy Thanksgiving for everyone in the US. Okay, so let's get started with Aries. I'm using I think it's called the Golden Tarot. I honestly forgot I had this deck. It was somewhere, it wasn't up with all my other decks. Here's the back. I like the blue. It's pretty. Okay, so you guys have the wish card. And I feel like what you're wishing for, I'll show you the cards. I feel like what you're wishing for is for something to change. To get out of a situation, to not have to deal with something, because we have the Eight of Swords. It's like you just want it to go away. You don't want to deal with it. But I think what the cards are saying this week is that the only way to deal with it is to go through it, and it's like you almost have to surrender to the fact that that the only way to deal with it is to go through the situation. And once you sort of accept that, you're able to get through it. And you almost get this very philosophical, and you sort of change your whole perspective. And you're just like, yeah, it's tough, but you sort of you see the wisdom and experience you're gaining from the situation, as opposed to just being like, this sucks and I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to put off and ignore it and hope it goes away. So you go from wishing something would just disappear to meeting it head on. And then you've gained all this experience. So it becomes, while it may not have been like your most favorite experience, it's probably not as bad as you thought it would be. And you're actually going to feel better about yourself, because you will have you've gained confidence, because you're like, God, now that I just tackled that head on and dealt with it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And now I have more confidence to deal with things in the future. Okay, so let's move on to Taurus. Sorry, I have a little bit of a cold, so. Okay, Taurus. So I'm going to pull 3 cards from the Golden Tarot. You got the Sun card, lovely. 3 of Pentacles and 3 of Cups. So this week, which kind of makes sense if at least you're in the United States where it's a holiday, the 3 of Cups is about being out with friends, getting together with friends, being in a supportive atmosphere, having a few drinks with people, getting together, and just being social, out and about. There's also this feeling of teamwork, of working together, of many different people coming together to pool their resources and their. I'm sorry, my nose is running. It's gross. It's almost like I could see some of you like getting together and volunteering and organizing things to maybe help out at the local food shelf or something like that. But for some of you, I feel like it's almost like this. It's like this eye-opening experience. Well, there's the new moon tonight, isn't it? I'm filming this on November 18th. It's kind of like, for some of you, maybe you had been going through sort of a lull. You weren't, feeling the holiday spirit, or you're feeling a little low or a little blah, and something clicks, something like the light shines like the lights turned on and you see something very clearly. And I feel like for some of you, you're realizing that this concept of being successful over being right. And I think a lot of us focus on being right. And usually it's hard, you're right, but to be successful, you may have to let that go. It's kind of like um, winning the battle but losing the war. So seeing the big picture. So I feel like you kind of have this shift where you're like, I got to be more of a team player. I have to be more supportive. If I want to get that type of energy back, um, I need to at least. I can't expect to get back what I don't put in, and that it's a symbiotic relationship. It all pays forward. It all goes around and around, and what we put out comes back to us. And so you're maybe being a little more generous, being a little more open, helping people out a little bit more. Not that you were a selfish jerk before, I'm not saying that, but it's kind of like it's more conscious. So you're like more aware of it for some reason this week. Okay, moving on to Gemini. Thanks for joining me, Gemini. I'm reading with the Golden Tarot. Kind of forgot I had this deck. All right, this card jumped out, the Hierophant. So what kind of wisdom? You're going to gain some wisdom this week. You're going to this real philosophical approach to things. So you have the Hierophant, the King of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. So two dudes here, although the Hierophant really is, the major arcana is really more about energy and spiritual lessons and sort of the big milestones that we learn things throughout our life or in different situations. And this wisdom can come from many, many sources. It can come from a spiritual teacher, a religious teacher, a leader of some kind, but it could also come from your children, from a random stranger you meet at the grocery store, it can, from a song, from a movie. And so be open to messages this week. And we have this guy here, this King of Cups. And this would be a water sign person, so a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, potentially, or some water heavy in their chart. He's a emotionally mature man. This is someone who often works in some sort of field where they help people. So something in the medical field, physical and mental health. Even a teacher, it could definitely be a teacher, but it's someone, it could be a father figure. It's someone that's generous with his time and his wisdom. Again, this theme of wisdom, and is emotionally supportive. Like they'll see if you're maybe down and try to cheer you up. They care about their feelings and in turn, being a mature king, how other people feel. So maybe it's an energy this week of really taking a more philosophical approach to things, being mindful of other people's feelings and even how you're feeling about things, because lots of times we don't realize how much how we feel can affect how we act in our situation, and that can be good or bad. But then we have this beautiful Ace of Wands. So it's like you not only are feeling in touch with your feelings, but you're realizing that something, a person, a situation, something that you're introduced to this week, it's got you fired up too. Like you're excited, you're motivated, you're inspired, enthusiastic, passionate. Is something you really want to put energy and time into. And even with the Hierophant, it could be like you find like all of a sudden you're like into Buddhism, you're into karate. I mean, it could be anything, working out, um, astrology, anything like that, or in some sort of creative endeavor. Maybe you start painting or um, working on cars, whatever your version of creativity is. But I feel like it's like you're gonna find something this week that really feeds your soul, like some new endeavor, something that really just strikes you, and you're like, I really want to learn more about this. I'm really interested in this. Or a job opportunity comes up where you're like, I had this job, it just fits. I have to apply for it. It really it has me excited. Okay, so let's move on to Cancer. Hi, Cancer. How are you? The Eight of Pentacles. This King of Cups just came out, and the World card. Wow. So some of you may meet a guy that you work with, that shares a similar passion or hobby. You may be discovering something. So the World card is here. So it's like something is culminating, it's coming to an end, and this isn't a negative thing. So it could be like the end of a trimester. I don't remember where colleges are. An end of a big project, an end of a class, an end of something you've worked hard towards. Like maybe you were in a play, and it had its run and you're finished, or any sort of thing like that. Some big project at work. You decided to clean your whole house out. But it can also be bigger milestones, like, yeah, finishing a job and starting a new job, moving, any sort of big ending and beginning at the same time. But it shows for some of you, whoops, I dropped the card, a mastery of something. So maybe you finished a certification or anything like that. I see some of you becoming, I would encourage you to apply for jobs, maybe becoming a manager if you want to work in the health field. I see that here because of the King of Cups, or in a field that's like a nonprofit, something that helps people, that benefits other people beyond, I don't know, selling beer or something, which helps people in a different way, but you know what I'm saying. Mental health professional, someone that helps out on a nonprofit. It's like finding something, though. It could be that you're like, I need to find a job, or I need my life to have more purpose. I need it to feed my soul. I need to find something to supplement that, even if I can't make it my day job. I need to start volunteering. I need to help out. I have a friend who once a month, actually, she takes some of her work time, her paid vacation, and helps out at a cat clinic for the Humane Society. I mean, that's 12 days a year she volunteers doing that. So something like that, something that feeds your soul. Maybe you guys are going to help out feeding less fortunate people over the holidays here in the US, and maybe it just clicks with you. You're like, I want to do this more. I want to have this purpose, this feeling of giving more in my life. All right, moving on to Leo. How are you, Leo? Thank you for joining me. I'm using the Golden Tarot today, which I kind of forgot I had. I don't read with it very much. The King of Swords. So really making sure that you're thinking things through, you're using your head and not making emotional decisions. So you do have the 8, yeah. So, okay, something hasn't really been working. If a job situation, a friendship, a romance, where you are unhappy more often than not. Um, and why? Okay, why do people stay in relationships? Why do people stay in bad relationships? Um, I mean, there are many different reasons, but I think a lot of times we're like we either thinking about how it was when it first started, and we all know that during the honeymoon period, no one is real. We're all fake, putting on our best show, and that's why you have to really, get to know these people who get married after 1 month. It's like, wow, you guys, you just got married on a facade. Because I'm not saying everyone's like that, but we all try to put our best foot forward for a while. And it isn't until we get more comfortable that we really show our true colors. That's just human nature. So, but maybe you're thinking, oh, it had been so good, or, the job, well, it had a good salary, or it, it seemed great, but what you realize, it's a hostile work environment, or they've promised you all this stuff and it's not coming through. Um, and you're just stressed out and up at night worrying and things like that. And so, how much is like that slot machine? Where's your limit? Where's your self-respect? How much do you put in without getting anything back, or getting very little in return? So that may be something. So really, you want to use your brain and stop feeling pity or guilty. I heard someone say that they stayed with their husband because they have to take care of him, like he's a child, like those are not good reasons out of guilt or obligation, or like you have to care for another adult, things like, I mean, and this is a perfectly uh, man that's perfectly capable of taking care of themselves. Um, and so, because there are all these, it's like your feelings are very muddled about some situation. It's just, you're just having trouble seeing clearly, and your emotions are, or having trouble figuring out how someone else thinks, what they're feeling, why they're acting that way. So this guy's like, well, I'll tell you why they're acting this way. It doesn't really matter why, but here's what they're doing, and it's unacceptable. Here's how you're feeling in this situation. So why are you staying? So you really have to ask yourself why you're staying, why you are continue to do bad behaviors or habits that are not beneficial, and walk away. And it sounds much easier than it is, but this is a really positive card, because it's like, I respect myself enough that I'm going to move on, and now I'm going to be open to new I'm going to have time and energy, and to open myself up to new positive experiences. Because right now, if you have some part of your life, and this doesn't have to be a huge thing, but you won't be able to usher in new experiences if you're holding on to ones that are really not healthy. Okay, let's move on to Virgo. How are you, Virgo? So that stayed on the table. Oh, did 3 stay on the table? Well, let's just take these. 8 of Pentacles, nice. 9 of Pentacles, 7. 10 of Wands. So when I see like this, the 7 of Pentacles and the 10 of Wands, to me, the 10 of Wands, all right, calm down, Jen. The 7 of Pentacles is all about things being a process, and how do you judge if you've given something enough time, or if you're being impatient, or if you're giving something way more time than it needs. You know what I mean? So it's like, I always use the same example because it works. If a farmer plants a seed, I mean, there's a certain amount of time, and you can make sure the ground is fertile and it gets the right sun and the right water and pests don't get to it and all that stuff. But there is a certain time that it's going to take that kernel of corn to grow into a stalk of corn that you can actually get ears of corn off of, right? So and you can't rush it. Being impatient, pressuring it, trying to, getting angry, demanding, which is what a lot of people do. You're going to do this now. I'm going to control you, because it's out of your control. And it's futile trying to yell at an ear of corn to grow. But then again, if you've waited like 3 months and that you don't see anything sprouting out of the ground, then you have to ask yourself the other way. Now, wait a minute. How long are you going to wait for this person, this situation, this raise, this behavior to stop? For someone's actions to match their words. And with this 10 of Wands, it's just like you need to it's telling me that you've waited too long. And not in, like, in a mean way. You've waited plenty of time. It's time to let it go, to move on. And it's just become a burden, waiting for someone to step up, to, accept responsibility or whatever. And you're not benefiting the situation by enabling it, by continuing to take it on yourself. So it's time to drop those wands that aren't yours to carry, and let someone pick it up, or walk away and just be like, well, I was carrying that wand for you as a favor, and I'm done. You overstayed your welcome. But then you have this beautiful 8 of Pentacles, and this is about making sure that your actions, your space, what you do, really, that you have a safe space, you have a practice, you have time to decompress, that you're not stressed out carrying other people's burdens, that you're not waiting around, where you can just be present in the moment. It's time to carve out for yourself, to feed your soul, to recharge, and to do that which brings you a deep, deep sense of joy and gratification, and where you feel completely present. So carve time out for yourself this week. Let someone else deal with it. If you're one of those people, I have to do everything if it doesn't get done. You know what? Try not doing it, and maybe people will step up, because sometimes that's what we do. We think just because someone didn't do it immediately, they're not going to do it. Maybe we never give them a chance to do it. So you've let something go long enough. It's time to take your hands off it and let someone else deal with it, and spend some time on yourself. Let's move on to Libra. How are you, Libra? I'm using the Golden Tarot. I like the backs of these cards. I don't read it with this deck. It was like, I forgot about it. It was downstairs where I don't usually do readings anymore. King of Pentacles, Judgment. And the 5 of Wands. So with the 5 of Wands on the deck, it's like you need to make a decision about whether something is something that's sort of draining your energy. I mean, what may have been friendly banter or friendly competition, or some sort of two groups or people or whatever that sort of clash a little bit, but it isn't horrible, has kind of taken a turn where it's just like, you know what? It was funny kind of bantering with this new girlfriend or boyfriend when we first met, but now it's just turned to maybe we just conflict. Like, we don't get along. This is not fun anymore. I don't want to have to, it's like I don't want to have to fight for every little thing. I don't want to have to, it's just too much energy for too little payback about something. And with the Judgment card, it's kind of like, why am I doing this? what am I doing? Why am I wasting my energy on this situation? Either you've gotten caught up in the drama and you're like, why am I doing, like, maybe there's some conflict at work that has nothing to do with you. But somehow you've gotten sucked in and you're like, wait a minute. Like, why am I even, this has nothing to do with me. Why am I dealing with this? And so you're going to like really have a aha, like, and like being like, okay, from here on forward, I am not getting sucked into other people's drama. I am not allowing someone to suck me in because that's my choice to get sucked in. And I don't have to have the last word. I don't have to I don't have to keep explaining when someone, says something. It's like, it gets to a point where you just know in your heart, like, I know the deal. I know the big situation. These people will always have to prove their point and always have to have the last word. It's like, that's about them. And I know that's so hard. And I struggle with this. So don't think I'm telling you like, oh, what other people think about you is not your problem. It's really hard, but it really is true. And it's like, you can't control them. But somehow they think I wouldn't be doing this if you were different, if you didn't do that. And when it's really, it's best just to let them sort of run their course and run out of batteries, kind of like a toddler having a temper tantrum. You can't it's like they're not reasoned with. It's all about them. And it's like you're just gonna be like, it's gonna be so great. You're just gonna be like, I'm gonna walk away. I'm not engaging. I'm not giving it a moment's more thought. And it's gonna be super freeing. It's gonna be amazing. You have this King of Pentacles as well. And he's just saying, he's a very mature king. He's the maturest, I don't think that's a word, king out there. He doesn't need instant gratification. He doesn't need to argue a point. He doesn't get fired up or worked up or emotional like the King of Wands and the King of Cups. He's just slow and steady wins the race. He knows he's patient and he's just busy doing his own thing. And other people can, have their little fits and go through all their dramas and all this stuff. And so he's just like, I'm solid. I am grounded. Other people's stuff doesn't move me because I'm so solid and I'm slowly and steadily working toward my goal. And because of that, I have a very strong foundation. So I think you're going to find that you're stronger than you realized and that you just are no longer going to get sucked up into a competition and conflict that you don't even want to be in the first place. Okay, Scorpio. How are you, Scorpio? Today I'm using the Golden Tarot. I almost said the Golden Dawn Tarot, but no, that's the Golden Tarot. Seven of Cups. The Hanged Man. So this week is going to be about going within. It'll be a week to really let your mind wander. Give yourself time to daydream, to think about things. Get your creativity going. I'm sorry, I thought someone drove in. We need these times when we're just daydreaming and wishing and hoping and thinking, and our minds are we're all in our head and it's very dreamy. Because if you don't, how would someone create? And you guys are super creative. How would you create? How would you think of new things to write, to paint, to whatever it is, if you don't have that, if you can't dream it and imagine it in the first place? And with the Hanged Man, I should show you the cards. the minor arcana in this deck are all just like this. There's no story, which can be good. It can be a little difficult as a new reader, but it doesn't force you to be stuck with the meaning on the picture on the card either. The Hanged Man is about appreciating that time, even if maybe you want other things to be happening. It's like, hey, take a break, take this vacation. If you're in the States, Thanksgiving, like, take your time. Don't pressure yourself. Don't be impatient and to not do things. Take a nap, enjoy your time, and just be. Just be. And even you have the High Priestess too, so going within, really getting in touch with what's going on inside you. What's your intuition telling you? What are some creative things that have been there that you've just kind of been like, oh, I don't know, no one will like that. I can't really figure it out. How would I do that? Let them percolate, let them come to the surface. And I think you guys are really going to have, by the end of the week, like this outpouring of creativity and these amazing new ideas, and be refreshed and renewed. That's nice, huh? Okay, Sagittarius. Hi there, fellow Saggies. Hope you're doing well. I'm using the Golden Tarot today. I like the pretty blue on the backs. These cards photograph well. Queen of Cups, Nine of Wands, and 10 of Cups. Oh, and I haven't looked at the bottom of the deck for anyone else, but we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, so for some of us, we may very well meet someone this week, or get an offer, or maybe someone will ask you out, or even if you're just with with friends or family, go out, accept invitations, because if you're single, maybe you meet someone. If you're not single, maybe you there's some opportunity when you're out mingling, maybe a job opportunity, or someone's like, hey, you meet someone that has a similar interest, and they're like, oh, you like to hike, I have access to all these trails, my neighbor has 200 acres, and I don't know, I'm making this up, but you see what I'm saying. So but I feel for some of us, it's going to be, if you are single, if you're not single, that someone could ask you to marry. You could hear that someone's pregnant. You could hear there's something with a family connection, like building a family, or someone deciding to live together and have a baby. You don't have to be married or whatever, but something along those lines. And it's something where it gets you feeling like, where you're thinking, oh my God, like, could I have a future with this person? What you're starting to imagine what that might be like, and your heart feels, it's like you haven't felt this way in a while. Like your heart is full, it's excited, and it's a little scary because it feels a little bit out of control, and it feels like it's been a really long time for some of you. Like, I have been waiting for this, this person, or for things to happen, and it's almost going to be like, is this real? Is this really happening? Can this be real? So be careful not to self-sabotage. Don't ignore red flags, but be careful not to self-sabotage, and be open. Like, you deserve it. So, all right, moving on to Capricorn. How are you, Capricorn? I think Saturn, well, you like Saturn in your sign. Saturn goes into your sign on the birthday, actually. And happy birthday to me. I'm ready for it to be out of Sag. No, it wasn't. It was, I learned a lot. I have appreciated Saturn in my sign, actually. A lot of good and interesting things have happened. So Knight of Cups. So Knight of Cups was just out for Sag. So Sag and Capricorn, there may be something going on there. Three of Swords. And the Page of Wands. Knight of Cups. I think it's interesting. Just like Sag, I think it's ready to get back on that horse. So for some of you who had been hurt in the past, or maybe for some of you, like your boyfriend or girlfriend, you've been feeling jealous or they've been super jealous and you're like, I'm not going to deal with this crap. Like, yeah, you're just like, or someone who's hurt you or and you're just like, you know what? I'm done. Like, or you had been holding or you'd been gun shy of a relationship because of past hurts. And this is going to be the week where you're finally ready to let it go and get back on that horse. There's an offer coming in, or if you're in a current relationship, you realize I need to be very mindful and I need to stop infusing this relationship with the story and the issues from a previous relationship and let it stand on its own and take it as it is and not be like worried they're going to do the same thing or projecting old issues onto the new relationship. But this is an offer that coming in for you. So be prepared. And the Page of Wands, it's like something you're excited about. It could even be you meet someone that shares a similar interest and you're really excited because you're both motivated and enthusiastic and inspired about the same things. So it's not just romantic attachment. It's also like it could be you guys work together. Just be thoughtful about that, or you share a similar hobby. Or creative endeavor or something, like you'd like to do the same sort of things. So just like I said, just said to Sag, be careful that this past situation with the Three of Swords doesn't contaminate or you don't self-sabotage with any new opportunities. Let's move on to Aquarius. How are you, Aquarius? Thanks for joining me. I'm using the Golden Tarot. I almost forgot what I was using. Hope you guys are doing well. I think I'm going to sneeze. Nine of Cups. What do you wish for? Ten of Pentacles. Money. Wow. Three of Swords. So that Three of Swords was just out for Capricorn. No. Yeah, for Capricorn. Some of you may come into some money, some family money, some inheritance, buy a lottery ticket if you are into that thing. I'm not promoting gambling, but your wish or hope to see family members or friends over the holidays, for example, here in the U.S., like that will come true. It's just going to be a very rich emotional experience, so we have like this wish card, which is a beautiful cups emotions card, and then this beautiful card of wealth and inheritance and legacy and multi-generational families and just the richness of life, like having a house that's truly a home and support and a solid foundation. So I feel like overall, it's weird. It's like some of you may still be dealing with some sort of hurt. And it could, for some of you, be like the first Thanksgiving after a family member has passed, and I'm very sorry. But I feel like it's going to be really cathartic. And just for everyone, regardless of whether that's your situation, it's just going to be like It's going to be a very rich time. It's going to create memories and just this feeling of connection and happiness. That, yeah, it's going to be like one of those memories that you tell over and over, that you remember this week. It's just going to be a very emotionally rich week for you, that may include something coming true that you really wish for, that you really hoped for. That will give you like a very deep sense of gratitude and stability. Okay, Pisces. How are you today, Pisces? Thanks for joining me. Happy Thanksgiving if you're in the US. Eight of Swords. So, yeah, what are you not? It's almost like there's something you're not dealing with, that there's some sort of elephant in the room, and it doesn't have to be a big elephant, but it's something that's other people see that you're just not dealing with. So, and it's interesting, I forgot the name of the book, but I was reading a book, and it was just like a beach read novel, and this lady was in an abusive relationship. Her husband was just a royal jerk, and they ended up separating and getting a divorce. But she really was like, I mean, this has just been a horrible relationship forever. And she was staying with her best friend, and she said, I could tell my friend had, how did she put it? Compassion fatigue, something like that. So whatever, here's a hint at what you're in denial about. Whenever you start talking to your friends about it and their eyes glaze over, or they're like, or you feel like you can't talk about it anymore because your friends are just so sick of hearing about it, it's like, do something about it. Like, deal with it. Because, like, people are sick of you being, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so mean to you, but people are sick of you being like a sad bastard and just like, poor me, Dietrich. It's like, do something about it. Time to get yourself out of that funk, whatever it is. Whether you have to break up with someone, get a different job, or just stop whining and look at things differently. It's something you can solve. You've decided you can't, but everyone else sees that like it's a very simple solution if you would just do it. So, negativity out of the way. Sorry, Pisces. Then you have, it's like, once you can get past that block and deal with it, all this creativity and positive things and opportunities, and all of a sudden you're able to move forward again and start creating the life you want to live. But you have to deal with the elephant in the room. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you have a lovely week. Take care.